Click the link in the description for your free Amsoil catalog. Before we get started, I'd like to give a quick shout out to some of our friends. The Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame. Search for them on Facebook. Central Minnesota Pond Racing. Search for them on Facebook. The historic Lancaster Motel for the ultimate Eastern trail riding adventure. Crane's Snowmobile Museum at 172 Main Street in Lancaster, New Hampshire. The Vintage Snowmobile Club of America Quarterly Magazine. The Bridge Street Garage Racing Team, the house racing team of the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast. The New Hampshire Snowmobile Museum at Bear Brook State Park in Allenstown, New Hampshire. And lastly, if you decide to advertise with the Vintage Snowmobile Podcast, this could be your advertising message. Good evening and welcome to the podcast. I'm really glad you're here. I have a robust lineup of vintage snowmobile entertainment on tap for you tonight. But before we get into all that, I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So if you can see this beet red face that got sunburnt ice fishing on Saturday, and if you can hear my voice, I'm going to ask you to leave a comment, make compliments on my beet red face. Also, let me know where you're viewing this from and whether you're a first-time viewer or a regular viewer. Now, to our first-time viewers, I thank you so much for coming on, checking us out. I really appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy what you see here tonight, and I hope that you decide to join us here each and every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. We simulcast to 8 different places on Facebook and YouTube. And so wherever you're viewing this, just come back next Thursday night, and we'll be here waiting for you. And to our regular viewers who are here each and every week, thank you so much for being a part of this. You guys are the ones that make this possible. You guys are the ones that put the wind into my sails, so to speak, to give me the motivation to continue doing this. And I thank you so much for that. Now, let's take a few comments before we get started. We've got a whole host of comments coming in here. Well, let's take a look at a few. We've got Roger Cormier saying hello. He's a regular viewer from Winnipeg, Manitoba. He said it's snowing again, and they had a record amount of it this winter. So I'm glad someone's got some snow and able to do some snowmobiling. Now, our new friend from Alaska Railroad, who was a first-time viewer last week, looks like he's here again this week, and we very much appreciate that. He says, good evening, Mike and gang. As he said last week, he's here tonight. He's blessed to have a snowmobile podcast as this to come to. As a diehard sledder and a massive vintage sled guy, he thanks us. We thank you for being here, and it's so nice to see that you're going to be a regular viewer. We welcome you here, and this is just wonderful. Also, we've got our good friend Alden Banks saying hello. Good evening. J.R. Tozier, how's things? Likes the show. He's a regular here as well. Another regular, Richard Brazo, loud and clear from Coleman, Wisconsin. Thank you so much for stopping by. David Lowry from Southern Alberta says they're getting lots of snow out there. Glad to hear it. Alaska Railroad says hello to Dave. John Spranger Jr., regular viewer. I think John's been here for each and every episode. We thank him for that. He says hello to everyone, and he's from Eland, Wisconsin. Our good friend Armand Buteau from Pittsburgh, New Hampshire says, remember the vintage ride this coming Saturday. Absolutely. That's going to be a great ride coming up in Pittsburgh, New Hampshire. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen for that a little later in the program, but that is a do not miss event if you want to do some go on a vintage ride in northern New Hampshire. Nick Kafes says loud and clear from Shelby Township, Michigan. Welcome to the program. Good to have you here, regular viewer. Also, regular viewer Michael Carvela is here, and he says good evening. Now, there are more comments coming in, but I don't want to belabor the program. So let's take a look at what we've got on tap tonight. Now, I had a guest on tap, Gary Porter, but sadly something has come up, so he's not able to make it. But we've got some things to do in the meantime. Also, at the about the half-hour point, we're going to do some trivia questions. And I've got Rob Hilditch. I'm going to bring him on here in just a moment. He's going to be co-hosting with us for the first half of the program until we get to the trivia questions. So let me see if I can bring him on here. Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Hello, Mike.
Nice to see you again. Now, Rob, if you don't mind, I'd like to do the trivia question at the bottom of the hour, but I'd like you to co-host with me while we improvise a program here. How's that sound for you?
Sounds good to me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I'll lead the way. What I've done is I've lined up some videos for us to watch. These are some oldies but goodies. Now, I know there are a lot of Ski-Doo fans in the house. A good friend of mine, Paul Belfay, I see him at all of the events in northern Vermont and New Hampshire. He's got some incredible snowmobiles. Normally, he brings his Snow Twister and his racing Yamahas and so forth. But this particular event in Washington, Vermont, he brought his Ski-Doo Elite. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, my name is Paul Belfay, and we're here at the Washington Snow Flyers rendezvous. And what a beautiful day we're having. And I brought my 1981 Ski-Doo Elite to the show. So let's take a look at it. It's a side-by-side, built in 1981. It has a rear engine, 462, water-cooled engine with a radiator and a fan and an alternator, like a car.
Wow.
You could let this sit and idle all day long.
Nice.
It does not have heat exchangers.
Yeah.
It has a heater for the passenger.
Oh, look at that. Wow.
It has, of course, a cigarette lighter, fuel gauge, temperature gauge, hot grips, and we have a AM, FM radio
With cassette.
and cassette,
Wow.
forward and reverse, gear selector, the compass, and
Wow.
we have a front trunk.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And you always want to carry battery
Oh, jumper cables.
jumper cables because it doesn't have a recoil pull start.
So electric's your only option.
It's the only option.
Wow. So you got to be ready, yeah.
Ready, yeah. So here we have Ski-Doo Elite. It never sold very well because at the time it was $6,000, and you could buy a top of the line one-up 9700 Blizzard for $3,500.
Yeah. So it's,
Sales lagged. They made about 200 of them.
yeah.
But thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it, Paul. So what do you think of that, Rob?
Didn't you ask him to take it for a drive?
I should have. I'm still
I took
kicking
one for a
myself on
ride
that.
once.
How do those handle? How did you like that?
It out-handled the snowmobile I had that day with me. I
Wow,
couldn't
yeah.
believe how nice it handled.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going
Nice.
down the trails and we're pulling out, passing my friends in front of me. It handled really well.
Wow. Does the width give it more stability?
Yes, a lot more stable. Yeah. And it
Nice.
was pretty good in deep snow. Like we were going across a lake and it no problem getting stuck. It seemed to have lots of power. Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't sell better because it was quite a unique machine.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Especially for couples, say couples maybe in their 50s and 60s, you can have the missus next to you going down the trail,
Yep.
So it seems
A lot
like
of our
that'd be a nice
resorts up
experience.
north, they had them there for resorts. From when people
yeah.
came, they take them a ride, show them the cabins available and stuff like that.
Yeah. Nice. Now, one thing I need to tell you about this gentleman, Paul, that we were just listening to, he was on the call with me when I interviewed Tim Bender. Now, I have to thank you for introducing me to Tim Bender. Paul and I interviewed him earlier this week. We had a wonderful interview. So I wanted to thank you for introducing us to him.
Interesting man, isn't he?
For sure. Really nice guy. Really interesting. So I still have to edit that, but at some point, and hopefully in the coming weeks, I'll have that on the podcast. Or it actually went on for a little while, so I'll probably put it on here as a standalone interview on the Vintage Snowmobile Lovers Facebook page.
Yes.
But yeah, I want to thank you for that.
One of his racing machines is in a museum at Eagle River, I think. And he says, no, that's not mine. That's a copy of somebody made. He says, I don't know where any of my old race machines are.
Wow. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. So it sounds like you had a relationship with Tim at some point. Was that when Amsoil was sponsoring him? Were you a part of that, or?
He's a year younger than me, and I was just starting racing, and he was involved big with Yamaha. And he was racing pro class, and I was racing stock class. And he was parked beside me, and all the pro teams there were with tractor trailers and everything. And he was there with a little van and his two buddies as mechanics. And he came out and he was beating the pros.
Really?
And he was seeing all the problems I was having with my SRX, with the oil mixture being at 15-1. I was following a plug up before I got out in the line. And he said to me, here, try some of my Amsoil. And back then, Amsoil wasn't available in Canada.
Sure.
And it's the first time I made the final.
Wow.
So that's how I got to meet him.
That's cool. That is very cool. Yeah, and that speaks to his talent as well. If he was just kind of a private operation, doing better than a lot of the factory teams.
Oh, yes.
And the big budget operations.
Yep.
That's cool. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very
and
cool.
one time I was good friends with Bobby Unser, and he was doing announcing for a Can-Am for one of the NASCAR Busch Series races. And he says, I looked in the pits and there was a Yamaha factory race team in the pits. What are they doing at NASCAR? So he says, I had to go down there and talk to the guy. And here was Tim Bender down there doing that.
Wow. My phone's going nuts here. I've got to shut the ringer off. I apologize. On the behalf of
I thought that was me.
Yeah. You know what it's doing is it's notifying me that I'm about to start a podcast on 8 different platforms 5 minutes into the program. So, yeah, thank you. But, anyway, we digress. Let's take a few comments, and then I've got some more videos that we can look at. In fact, I wanted to scroll back. Where did I see that? Our new friend, Alaska Railroad, who just came on last week, he's saying he's got some photos that he'd like to share with us for everyone here to enjoy. He doesn't have any videos yet, but he's working on that, wondering the best way to get them to me. Well, I'm going to pop my email address on the screen. That's always the best way to communicate with me. Let me find that right here. So that email address at the bottom of the screen is the best way to communicate with me. And I'm going to remove that, and let's take a few more comments because I know a few have come in. Where was I? Wow, they're coming in hot and heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, Jim Leighton, our good friend from Northern Maine, says he can hear us just fine. Paul Norwood from Coleraine, Massachusetts. Hello, how you doing? Thomas Plotz from Yorkshire, New York. Nice to meet you. You ever heard of this guy?
Do you ever look and see how far your broadcast covers?
I've had some people in Europe, Eastern Europe, I think, is the furthest
Oh
it's
yeah.
been, but it's mostly North America. But there are a few people in Europe, and like that. Cliff Anderson from Afton, Minnesota. Doug Reinstra from Dixon, Illinois. Brian Van Haverbeek, our good friend Brian, says good evening. Alden Banks says, tell Rob he got his hat and decals. There we go.
Good.
So he won the trivia contest there a few weeks ago, and it sounds like he got his care package from you.
Good.
That is cool to hear. Good deal. If you have a chance, Alden, try to take a selfie of yourself and share it with us. We'll share it on a future episode. Now, Richard Brazo says he loves the Elite, and that does not surprise me because I know Richard's a big Ski-Doo guy, so I'm sure he was enjoying that. Great to hear from you, Richard. Mark Ferguson says the Elite would sell better today, and I think that's entirely possible.
They came back out with them about 17 years ago.
Yeah.
But they banned them in Ontario here. We weren't allowed to take them on the trails because they classed them as a passenger vehicle, and they wanted them licensed and plated like a car.
Wow. So more legal issues than it was technology issues.
Yeah, but in the state of
issues.
Quebec, they probably have more in Quebec than anywhere else.
Sure. Now, because I think the last year they did that was 2005 or so, that Elite? There's a much more modern looking version of it.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering now, we've got these side-by-side ATVs. It seems like that would be a really nice companion, to do the side-by-sides in the summer months and Elite in the winter months, for the people who are into that.
Yeah. A couple of shows ago, did we ever get anybody tell us if they ever rode one of those snow scooters?
Oh, good question.
Did anybody ever take one out in deep snow and try it? Or I know somebody sent a picture and one they have in really nice shape.
Yeah, I would be very interested to know that. And if you've ridden one of those was it Snow Runner, Chrysler Snow Runner?
Yep.
Is that what they were called?
Yep.
If you've ridden one of those, we would love to hear how that handled and what that was like, especially if you're in any kind of powder. I'm sure in packed powder it would be nice, but deep powder, I don't know. But I would love to hear. It's a good point you raise. Hopefully someone will make a comment here tonight. Steve Woodward gives us a thumbs up. Let me see if I can get them. There we go. Thumbs up to you. Alaska Railroad says, hello, Rob. Cool deal. Cool. Yes.
There you go.
Clint Bruder says, hello there, Mike and Rob, coming at you from Logan, Utah. Cool deal. And I think Clint Bruder got a care package as well, didn't he?
Yes.
I think he was one of the winners a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And we'll be doing some trivia questions at the bottom of the hour. We've also got Rick Gregory from Indianapolis, Indiana. And one more comment, and we're going to play another video. Jeff Thomas, here we go. Jeff Thomas was sending us the image of the Snow Runner. He said it was good on a plowed driveway.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, my neighbor had a snowmobile called a Snow Prince, and it was okay on grass.
Sure. And then, it said powder is not its friend. Cool. But I bet that would be fun on kind of a packed area. That'd probably be some fun,
Yep.
And then the last year for the Elite was the 2005. Okay. Good deal. All right. So I've got another video I'm going to play. Let me find it here. So this is at the same event we were visiting with Paul. Same event. Another friend of mine. He's a cat guy, a cat collector, Jim Murphy. Let's take a look at his 71 Panther.
Jim Murphy. This is my 71 Panther axle flow with a 340 JLO in it. So, I don't know if this one's got electric start. No, this one. The other one's got electric start.
Yeah.
Kind of just bought it this way. Didn't do much to it.
Nice. Now, has it been restored or is this original condition?
Guy told me it was original.
Nice.
I don't know.
Sure.
The seat's original. I took it off. It looks original to me, but sometimes it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
It looks original.
It's a beautiful example, though. I'll give you that. Yeah, cool. So that was Jim Murphy's cat. Yeah, but 71 Panther with a J-Lo in it. Any thoughts on that, Rob? Or are you a cat? Do you like cats at all?
My dad had a 72 cat. And the reason he got it, because he had a bad back, and the doc says either give up snowmobiling or buy a cat. So my dad bought a cat, and he had a special backrest on it that 5 gallons of gas would fit in it.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Bought it right from Cat, and he also could put his box in it for ice fishing.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And it's true, if somebody wanted to do kind of luxury trail riding, a cat was the way to go at the time.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, especially that machine. Yes, that rode's so nice. My Jags don't ride that nice.
Right.
But they're great for the kids.
Or Panther? Or?
My dad had the Cheetah.
Cheetah, yeah, nice.
5,000 Cheetah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and my mom drove a 79 Jag. And I still own that machine, my mom's.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
Yeah.
You still have it?
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to see pictures of that sometime. That'd be really cool.
Well, the kids have been using it for the last 10 years, so I don't know if we want to see a picture of it.
Working it pretty hard.
And I got a 72 Jag too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, I have a cabin up north in the woods, so it's perfect for the kids, these Jags.
Yes. Good deal. So I want to remind people that at the bottom of the hour, after we do the trivia, we're going to do the trading post segment. And that is where if you've got vintage snowmobiles for sale, parts, accessories, memorabilia, clothing, or even a vintage snowmobile event, this is a great place to post. This is our companion Facebook group. There's a link in the description. It's called Wheels, Keels, and Snowmobiles. You can post anything with an engine in there. Cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, ATVs, RVs, and especially snowmobiles. So if you've got a vintage snowmobile for sale, please click the link in the description. Go over there and post. It's not too late to leave a post. And if you're wondering, I don't want to leave the podcast to do that, well, the podcast is simulcasting over on that Facebook group. So once you get there, just scroll a bit and you'll find it in the discussion area, and you'll be right back where you were when you were viewing us. And we do have some things people have posted that we're going to show you in another 10 or 15 minutes. But let's take a look at a few more comments here. We've got Pat Lima says the side-by-side sleds will come back. Yeah, I think they very likely could. Yeah, for sure. And then our friend Jared Ellis says twin rail suspension fit for the win. Absolutely. And then our good friend Alaska Railroad says the 71 Panther wasn't his first sled. He had the 399 J-Lo. He ended up putting a Polaris 530 in it, and it looked OEM. Cool deal. And then, okay, I think that must have posted twice. All right. Well, cool. So, yeah, let's take a look at another video. And then on the other side of that, we're going to be pretty darn close to the trivia portion of the program. So this next video is a good friend of mine, Donald Tibbetts. I see him at a lot of the shows in northern Vermont and New Hampshire. He specializes in collecting survivors. He doesn't like to get restored sleds or anything. He likes survivors. And here are some of his survivors. He's going to talk about them.
My name is Don Tibbetts from Lunenburg, Vermont, and I've got a bunch of old machines that I bring to the shows occasionally. And I've got 4 of them here today. An Alouette, all I know is what the land is called. A 78 Kawasaki. All I know is what the land is called. My son's machine is a 95 Elan, next to the last year that they made the Elan. All I know is what the land is called. Well, I know what the landlord told me. He said it was all original pay. And I've got a 73 Arctic cat. Well, I know what the landlord told me. He said it was all original pay. Well, I know what the landlord told me. He said it was all original pay. Mine are all original, unrestored.
Yes.
And that's the way I like to have them.
Yeah.
When you compete with restored machines, you're competing with machines that are a lot of times better than they ever left the factory. When you compete with the in the restored classes, you're competing with the big boys then.
Yeah.
Cool deal.
Where does he find original ones like that?
I don't know. He's got to turn over a lot of stones to find those, man. He's this is just a fraction of his collection. He's got a really nice collection. He always gets some really nice sleds to shows, and that I like that Kawasaki. Just the lines on that, gorgeous sled.
Oh, that cat was nice too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that El Tigre. Absolutely. Well, let's see. Let's take a few comments, and then I think it's going to be just about time for the trivia questions. Okay, our friend Gary Porter, who's going to be on tonight, he says sorry he's running late, but he looks forward to catching up with us next week on the podcast. So we'll be looking forward to that. That'll be very cool. And thank you, Gary, for checking in. We appreciate that. Rod Lacari says nice looking sleds. Cool deal. Mark Gossoo says loves the El Tigre. Absolutely. And Mark will be coming on a little later in the program. He sent us some images, and we're going to be showing them later in the program, and he's going to come on and make a few comments. Alaska Railroad says double whammy. This is a sled and car podcast. He's a huge collector car guy also in heaven here. Outstanding. Well, glad to meet you on that as well, because in the summer months, this Vintage Snowmobile podcast goes on hiatus. I air reruns, and through the summer months, I do a muscle car podcast. So you want to stay tuned for that as well. That airs on Wednesday nights. And if you're curious about that, send me an email.
What time Wednesday night do you do that?
9 p.m. Yeah, and let me find my. Here's the email address for the Muscle Car podcast. So if people are thinking, because I know a lot of people who enjoy vintage snowmobiles also enjoy muscle cars. So if you've got nothing better to do on Wednesday nights in the summer months, come on by and join me for the Muscle Car podcast. Clint Bruderer says, amazing sleds, loves that 340 El Tigre. Absolutely. That is a sweet example. Richard Brazo says his first snowmobile he bought was a Kawasaki Invader 440. Cool deal. All right. So guess what? It is that time of the evening, that time of the podcast for the trivia questions. So I'm going to pop the graphic on the screen. So Rob, the gentleman who we've been talking to here, co-hosting the program, he is Rob the Oil Guy. And he is your authorized Amsoil dealer. So if you have any kind of needs in the way of Amsoil products, he is the guy to talk to. His number and his email address are on the screen. Plus, there's a link in the description to his website. So before we start with new questions, let's go back a little. I know that you weren't able to be here last week, but this is the question we had the week before, and we had some answers to it. But let's revisit that to get ourselves up to speed. Did you want to read that off, Rob?
Who was the first pro snowmobile oval racer running the Amsoil logos?
Cool deal. And then this was the answer to it.
Tim Bender.
None other than Tim Bender.
Now, do you have a picture of that snowmobile?
Not handy, unfortunately.
Oh,
I wish I did. I do have it.
That was unique.
Yes. That's the one that almost looked like he was sitting inside it, correct?
Yes. Yes.
At RXL?
Yep.
Yes, I should have had that image ready to pop, but unfortunately I don't. But the winner of that question was Bombard, Floyd, and Lisa, and I'm going to be reaching out to them in the next few days to get their mailing address because you have prizes for them.
Yes, we do.
And then that week, the last time we did the, in fact, let me, this is the prize, folks.
Yep.
Cool deal. Now that episode, we got bold and we did 2 trivia questions. So let's take a look at the second trivia question.
What is the world's longest, toughest snowmobile race? And it happened to be on that week when we were doing the trivia question.
Absolutely. And this was the answer.
Yeah, the Iron Dog. Yeah, it was on TV. That's how I found out about it.
Yes. And then we've got our friend Mark Gossoo in the waiting area. We're going to be bringing him on in just a few minutes once we're done with the trivia question and some announcements. But the winners of that trivia question were Donnie McManus and Rick and Katrina Dumont, and they'll be getting some Amsoil prizes as well.
Good.
So that brings us to this week's question.
Okay, this week's question is, what was the brand of racing snowmobiles used in the World Championship in 1979, 1980, and it's also 1981?
81 as well, yeah.
Now that race, there was 5 Americans and 5 people from Finland, all racing identical machines, and each driver only had their own hood, and they raced 3 times every day they raced, and every time they had a different snowmobile, so it made it equal for everybody. And the only thing you kept was your hood. And big name drivers like Bob Donahue, Alan Decker were all involved in the American team, and they raced at Eagle River. The final race was in Finland. But the question is, what was brand of snowmobile that was used?
Nice, nice. And I'm going to open up the comment section here and see if we're getting any answers. Let's see. Oh, Alaska Road says he'll join us in the summer for the Muscle Car podcast. Glad to hear it.
I'll see you there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yep.
And I think we should continue this Amsoil activity in the Muscle Car podcast.
Sounds good.
And then Kevin Lowther says, back in the day, Massey Ferguson made a snowmobile, one of the first he ever rode. Have I ever seen any of them? And I have. There's a guy, what the heck's his name, that goes to some of the shows, and he's got a standard one and one he'd modified with an extended tunnel. I'll try to have that ready for next week's podcast. If you come on, Kevin, next week, I'll have that for you, and I think you'll enjoy it because he's got a stock one and a modified one. So now we're getting some answers to the trivia questions. Now, I'm not going to give it away, but just to give people a chance. But here are some answers that are coming in. Yeah, we've got a very knowledgeable audience here. I'm very impressed.
Yep.
And the answer has been posted. I'm not going to give it away just yet, but you guys are.
And next week we'll even have a picture of the race machines.
Yes, absolutely. Next week we'll have a picture. Yep. Absolutely. Well, cool.
The same thing happened in car racing, eh?
Yes,
remember Camaro did it? Everybody ran the same kind of Camaro. There was people from NASCAR, IndyCar, and everything all running the same cars. Yeah.
Sure. Cool. Oh, and Stacy and Art Fosler are saying they're going to check out the Muscle Car podcast. I almost said Muscle Park Codcast. That's a mouthful. Well, good. I'm glad to get some people who are going to follow me over for that. That is wonderful. And then we've got Jeff Kolb. Absolutely. We'll get some good answers coming in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shift gears. We are now at the announcement portion of the podcast. We're going to do some announcements. We're going to do some quick trading posts. And then we've got our friend Mark Gossoo waiting in the waiting area. And we're going to look at some images that he sent us. So let's go through the announcements real quick. We've got the next induction ceremony of the Eastern Snowmobile Racing Hall of Fame is coming up Saturday, September the 10th in Lancaster, New Hampshire at Crane's Snowmobile Museum. Now, the ceremony itself starts at 1:30 p.m., but I encourage people to show there at least no later than 1 p.m. because you're going to be bringing lawn chairs, and you need some time to stake your spot out for the lawn chairs. And then you're also going to want some time to go inside the museum. There's over 100 vintage snowmobiles inside there. You're going to want to take some time to check that out And you also want to be able to mix and mingle with inductees, past, present, and future. So look forward to that event this coming fall. Also, if you enjoy vintage snowmobile logos like the ones you see here, there are a whole host of them, probably 40 or 50 of them. If you click the link in the description, you can get these logos printed on t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, magnets, phone cases, just about anything you can imagine. And I thank the people who've been ordering those. That helps to offset the cost of this podcast, and I very much appreciate it. Likewise with the DVD set. We've got a 2 DVD set with almost 4 hours of vintage snowmobile entertainment on it. If you enjoyed season 1 of the podcast as much as I did with all of the interviews that we did, people we were bringing on live, every single one of those interviews is on this 2 DVD set. And if you order this 2 DVD set here in the next few days, I'll also include a third DVD with almost 3 hours of vintage snowmobile programming on it. So that's almost 7 hours of vintage snowmobile entertainment for only $24.99, and that goes directly to offsetting the expenses of this podcast. Real quick, some more events. March 19th, Island Pond, Vermont. They're having a vintage snowmobile show. Hope you can make it. And this coming weekend, Pittsburgh, New Hampshire, there's a vintage snowmobile ride, and we've got some snow coming, so that promises to be an excellent event. One last event, and then we're going to change gears. We've got a show and swap meet Saturday, March 19th in Constableville, New York. Don't miss that event if you're in that area. So we are now at the portion of the program where we do the trading post. We're going to do that real quick. And I thank everyone who has been posting in there. If you want to post in the future, just click the link in the description. This is our companion Facebook page where you can post things about cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, snowmobiles, RVs, anything with a motor. You can view and post things for sale. You can also post parts, accessories, memorabilia, clothing, events, anything to do with everything I just described. So let's pull that up on the screen here. It just takes me a moment to, well, where's the screen share? Oh, sorry. I've got to, sorry, I'm just fighting with my interface here. It'll take me a moment. I'm getting closer, folks. Don't go anywhere because here it is. Okay, so let's scroll down here. I know some people have been posting in here. Check this out. We've got some vintage snowmobile suits for sale. One-piece women's snowmobile suit. Let me read the description. It says, I have vintage and classic snowmobile sportswear in my store, snowmobile suits, jackets, bibs, various prices and conditions. He's been collecting and selling since 2009. All items are shipped via U.S. Postal Service, priority mail, and insured. Store link is on the pictures, and it's a secure checkout. So it's dollycamco.com. And let's take a look at some of these suits. Wow, look at that vintage cat suit. I love that. Outstanding. Yeah, so dollycamco.com. If you enjoy vintage suits, that is the place to go. Another vintage cat suit. 2 of them, actually. One from 1970, another from 1977. Some more vintage cat fashions. Outstanding. Yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing those. Vintage motorski. Yeah, we got some cool cat clothing here. Cool other brands as well. Well, cool. Let's scroll down a little bit more. We've got Mark Ferguson here with a 72 Yamaha GP292. Pop that on the screen and read the details. 72 Yamaha GP292, beautiful racer restoration, completely ready to go. Vintage ice racing show or man cave art. Many new old stock parts and mods, too much to list, just start it and go. Comes with a winning history and runs amazingly strong. Tons of parts and months of quality work just performed. Message for all details. She will not disappoint. We also consider cars and trucks for trade, and this is in Greater Napanee, Ontario. Let's take a look at some images of this sled. That is a looker, I have to say. Yeah, that's cool. Ah, look, you catch that on the back of there, Rob? Cool deal.
Snowmobile Classic.
Sorry,
here.
I had your mic off, Rob. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I sponsor the Vintage Snowmobile Classic up here at all the oval races.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you know this gentleman?
No, I don't. I don't. Right. We have a good turnout for vintage racers. Real good turnout.
Nice.
Yeah, in a
that
nice
is
shape.
really cool. Yeah, it sure is. That's a looker. All right, let's just take a couple more here. This is one from last week. We'll look at this real quick. This is Lauren Frapp. Where is this located? In Saskatchewan, I think. Moosomin, Saskatchewan. Let's take a look at this Arctic Cat Panther 1975, and it's a 440. We had this on last week, but it was so nice we want to take a second look at it. Just a couple more here, and then we'll get on to the. Now, this is a new one. This is from Luc Petit. This is a vintage two-piece men's Ski-Doo suit for sale, size 42, immaculate condition, like new condition. It's been in storage for 35 years, and he's looking to get $200 for it. Let's take a closer look. That is a good. That's in really nice shape. That's a nice suit. And I thank everyone so much for stepping up and posting these things on here. One last one. This will be the last one, but Steve Poland's got a 71 Panther with a J-Lo 340, low miles, great shape, original seat, no tears. Just been gone through by his mechanic and runs great. Private message him with any questions. If it's listed, it's still available. Take a quick look at that, and then we're going to move on to the next segment here. That looks very similar to the one that in that video that we were looking at, Jim.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It looks really good at the shows when people have a vintage snowmobile and have vintage clothes to match it.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah.
That is a nice touch. I agree. All right. Well, that concludes the Trading Post portion of the program. Let me pop that off the screen, and we're going to bring a new person on the screen. Let me turn on his mic and bring him on. Now, this is Mark Gossoo. How you doing, Mark?
Hi, guys.
Nice to see you.
Hello, Mark.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Been enjoying the show.
I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Now, Mark, you in the last few days, you sent me some images from when you were young in the late 60s and early 70s. And I've made a little video montage of them with some music under it. But before we roll it, I'd love you if you could tell us about what we're about to see.
So I grew up in the late 60s, early 70s in the Catskill Mountains area in New York State. And these are just mostly family photos of my cousins, my uncles, family friends, just enjoying snowmobile. And the first couple of shots, I think, are going to be of my cousin Dave's 69 Snow Gia. That was an Italian sled that I think they only sold them in North America just in that 1 year, 69. Had a 297 Sachs engine in it. You can't see it in the pictures real well, but it had a kind of the windshield was kind of a pinkish red color.
Yeah, nice.
It went with the sled. But then after that, kind of a mixed bag. You'll see me at about age 4 playing on a Lynx with my other cousin who's about the same age. We're on there pretending that we're riding, having a great old time. So
sure.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, wonderful memories. And for me, we're about the same age, and that was a similar experience for me in late 60s, early 70s. I was around snowmobiles, but too young to ride them. But I had fun sitting on them and fantasizing about riding them. And this just brings it all back. I remember, how do I say it? It's how I remember it, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So yeah, unless you had any further comments, I'll roll the footage and we'll take a look.
Go ahead.
All right. so cool. So cool.
Those are a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Some of the later pictures there was all up where my dad and my uncles had a hunting camp, and the school bus was actually their camp. They put bunk beds in the back and flipped some of the seats around to make a little dining area, and they had a little stove and everything in that old bus.
That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, that's cool. Any thoughts on any of that, Rob? Any reactions as you're seeing that?
Oh, great pictures they were. Looked like they had fun.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
The later the pictures you saw where they had a sled in the garage where they were working on the track. That my cousin who had the snow Gia, he traded that in a couple of years later for, I think it was a 71 Lynx with the 303 Wankel.
Yeah.
And he used to go putting around the yard for hours. That unique Wankel engine sound.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny. I enjoyed those pictures of the sled in the garage, because we used to do the same thing. We'd bring the sled in the garage all covered with snow, and we'd hoist up the back end of it. And it's just these pictures are just how I remember it. And one of these, let me see. This is you and your cousin here, right?
Yeah, that's me in the front. My cousin Matt in the back.
Nice. And there's another one. Now this brings back a memory for me, because I remember when I was this age, I was of course too young to drive them myself, so I was dependent on my parents. And my job, of course, was to go out ahead of them and brush off the snowmobile, get all the snow off it. This is before we had snowmobile covers. And so now I'm out there waiting for them, sitting on the sled, just like these two kids are. And in my mind, I'm having a little fantasy. I'm riding the snowmobile and I'm going over hill and dale at breakneck speeds and death-defying jumps, all in my mind, of course, but it was wonderful sitting behind, holding the handlebars like that and having that little fantasy. And then of course I'm thinking, well, what the heck is taking them so long? What are they doing in there? So I eventually would have to go in and say, are we going snowmobiling or not? And then, all right, we're coming. And then just getting on the snowmobiles and going for a ride. But it reminds me of that experience. It takes me back to how I remember it.
Yeah, for sure. I can almost smell the 2-cycle exhaust.
Yes, absolutely. And after a day of riding, you smelled like it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I love that smell.
My dad's first snowmobile was a 1967 10-horse Skidoo. And my job every Saturday morning was to take the hood off to grease underneath. And it was 28 screws to take the hood off. And my dad's hands were too big to reach in there, so my hands could reach. And every time I did it, there was one less screw put back in the hood.
Nice. Well, cool. Now we've got some comments coming in. Let's see what people are saying here. Let me find where my spot was. Okay, this is from back when we were talking about the Camaros.
IROC
Nick
Camaros.
Kafez talks about the IROC Camaros.
Yep.
Absolutely. Jeff Thomas says Kawasaki. Michael Argy says, shout out to Rob. He says, thanks for the Amsoil stickers that you sent him. And he's from Caseville, Michigan. Pardon me.
Somebody was talking about Massey Ferguson earlier. I grabbed one of my old magazines that I found. And
oh, yes. Let me pull you full screen with that.
It's the Ski Whiz 73.
Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. I love seeing those old ads. That is very cool. Yeah, thank you for popping that on the screen. Cool deal. So let's see. Alden Banks was saying saw the vintage clothing on Facebook on the Facebook page. Outstanding. Well, cool. And then Alaska Railroad says he'd like to find a snowmobile suit to go with his 80. I'm losing my voice. His 80 Polaris TXL. Cool. That's when they had everything went blue, I think, in 1980, from white to blue, as far as the machines. I don't know what color the clothing went. And Alaska Railroad says hello to Mark. Cool deal. So before we close out the program, I've got one more video I want to show. I'd like you to stay on, Mark, if you would, and stay and join us for all this. Where was it? Okay, so actually, I'm lying. I've got two videos. Cool. So we've got a little more time here. Now, our good friend Jim Leighton, he's been on this podcast many times, coming on live to show us sleds and everything. He was at a Vintage Snowmobile Show over the weekend in Fort Kent, Maine, and he was able to get some video footage. He shared it with me. Let's take a look at that. We are the
Can-Am sled dog race in Fort Kent, Maine. We got a vintage sled show going on here. Got a few sleds. Get this through.
This thing is awesome.
A little different machine. We got some snow travelers. This one won the oldest prize today. Oldest sled. Elite won the most original sled at the show.
Okay, we got about 4 or 5 minutes. 5 minutes left, George.
A little black dot in the back of the trailer won the sexiest machine, best to show.
We have a vast array of trained, experienced mushers that have joined us today. Our first musher, the first one, no, yours was a nice. Milan, New Hampshire, Greg Vitello. Greg Vitello. Greg is an entrepreneur, owner of Northern Exposure Chemical. His lead dogs are Hera, Aztec, Greg.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you so much to Jim Leighton for sharing that footage with us. Any thoughts, guys, as you're looking at that? Anything jump out at you?
Oh, I like that 3-cylinder Skidoo. 775 was it?
Yes. In fact, that's Jim Leighton's sled. His father used to race that.
Oh yeah, that's a rare machine.
There were some
sure.
real old timers in there too. They were nice looking.
And there's one I had some thoughts on. I don't know much about it. I've got more questions than answers. It wasn't even a snowmobile. It was that little green miniature 3-wheeler with the ski on the front. I wonder if that was made by the same people that made the Tri-Sport. I'm wondering if anyone knows, if either of you guys know, or if anyone any of the viewers would know, to post a comment.
No, I don't know.
It looks something like the Rupster one, but it was too small.
Yeah. And while we're on the topic of the Tri-Sport, I'm trying to remember who made that. Was it Chaparral? I think it was a Canadian company. Anyone remember who made the Tri-Sport, the 3-wheeler? It was bigger than the green one we saw.
Yeah. So.
But I know there's someone in our town when I was a kid, and he would do donuts in the gravel with it, and I was really impressed. but I don't. It escapes me as to who made the Tri-Sport. But
I don't know if you.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know if you can go back to one of my pictures where there were 4 sleds all lined up. Somebody was asking in the comments what was the silver sled, and I actually don't remember what it was.
Yeah,
So
it might have been a Johnson or something.
Maybe somebody here would actually know what that was.
Good question.
I have no memory of that.
I think it was a Johnson. I'd have to play the whole video in order to do that. I can't get to just like one spot of it, but I think it was a Johnson. But I'm not positive. I'll have to look at the images later.
Because I was too little then. I don't remember what it was. And
sure.
Later on, we were mostly cat guys.
Yes. So let's see. We've got Rod LeCarry says nice little trip back in time. Absolutely nice photos. Mark says Alaska Railroad. Thank you for the compliment on that. So good looking honky says Mike, Rob, and Mark. Hi, Peter North. Oh boy, here's an old adult. I can't read without my glasses here. I'm not sure if I like where this is going, but an old adult film star. Wife and I enjoy your stream tonight. I'm from Nova Scotia, Halifax. Thanks from Peter North. Cool. I remember back in the 70s when I was in high school, people always jokingly referred to people as Holmes. And I didn't know what that meant until I was in my early 20s to know that they were referring to John Holmes, the legendary porn star. But so this is almost, kind of a modern interpretation of that. But cool. Yeah. Thank you. Good looking hunky. Cool. Hope you get some film work. But Rod LeCarry says Purple Power Lube had a nice smell to it. Absolutely. Yeah. I have good memories of Purple Power Lube as well. Let's see. Alden Banks.
Yeah,
what was the silver sled? Okay. Yeah. So you're not the only one wondering about that. Oh, that's the one you were probably talking about. All right.
Yeah. I'll dig into my old magazine and see if I can figure it out.
Yeah. So Alaska Railroad says nice snow travelers. It's been a 63 fun and slow. Okay. And Jim Leighton says it's a 797 Blizzard. Oh, here we go. Jim Leighton says that's a Tri-Cat Spee.
Oh,
cool deal. Now, is that any relation to the Tri-Sport? Do you know, Jim? Or do you know who makes that? Or Suzuki Fury. Okay, Suzuki Fury. That silver sled might have been a Suzuki Fury, now that I think of it. Oh, Jim Leighton says the Tri-Cat is his. All right. Cool. So, yeah, going right to the source here. 75 Fury. Doug Renster says scheduler one. Not positive at all. I'm not sure I understand what's being asked there, but okay. John Spranger says skedaddler. I have a feeling that silver sled might be a skedaddler. Yeah, I think that
rings a bell.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that is. All Sport made the Trip Sport. Okay, and I think All Sport made the Tri-Sport. Now is my camera locking up?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Just all of a sudden there.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully that gets over itself.
Good now.
Okay. Yes. Good. It looks good on my end as well. So yeah, we're getting answers on all of these things. All Sport made the Tri-Sport 3-wheeler. Okay. Good deal. I love the immediacy of this. So you can put a question out there and you can get an answer within minutes. That's the wonderful thing about going live like this and having people watch. The silver sled was a Suzuki Fury. Cool deal. But I think, I'm more inclined to think it was a skedaddler. But
yeah, because that sounds right to me.
Me as well. Yeah. Well, cool. So we've got one last video, and then we're going to close out the program for the evening. But this is some images, much like what Mark did. He sent me some images. I put them together into a little montage with some music under it. These images are from Jared Ellis. He took these images at a Vintage Snowmobile show in Rigby, Idaho. So let's take a look at his images.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you so much to Jared Ellis for sharing those images with us. Now go ahead. Did you guys have any comments or thoughts on any of that? Or?
I think I saw my first sled in there. It looked like a 72 Kitty Cat.
Yes, nice. I did see one. Yeah, I think it was under the tent. Yeah. Now there was one image that I wanted to talk about, and that is this one here. There was a movie in 1972. It was a Disney movie called Snowball Express, and these two sleds are the actual sleds from that movie.
Oh.
Now, the movie itself is kind of I don't know, not that great of a movie, but if you like vintage snowmobiles, there's a snowmobile race that takes place as part of the story in the movie, and these are the two sleds that were kind of racing against each other. There were other sleds as well, but these are the two that were kind of part of the story. Yeah, so it's really cool to see those. When we had Jim Smith on here a few weeks ago.
What make are they?
I think. Well, let me bring that back. The one on the right was a cat. The one with the flames.
Yeah, it looks like a.
And I think they've kind of done things with the graphics to kind of disguise what it really is. But I think anyone who knows vintage sleds would know that's a cat.
Yeah.
The other one, I'm not so sure. I think when Jim was on last week, a few weeks ago, I think he was telling us, but it escapes me as to what that was. But that's very much kind of a Frankenstein sled that's been kind of fooled around with. I think with the movie, they didn't want to have it real obvious what the brands were. But yeah, the premise of the movie is I think they inherit this motel, this inn out in the Colorado Rockies, and they go to claim it, and turns out it's an old rundown place and needs a lot of work, and so they're trying to do that, and they're running out of money, and they end up putting the place at risk because they borrowed money and they couldn't pay it back, and so the brilliant idea is they're going to win this snowmobile race. The money from winning the snowmobile race, they're going to be able to pay everything off, and everything's going to be okay. And you'll have to watch the movie to see how the rest of it goes. But did my camera just lock up again?
Yep.
Okay. All right, here we go.
You're good now.
Cool. So yeah, we're going to take a few more comments, and we're going to wind down the program. Alden Banks likes the old TNTs. Absolutely. Jared Ellis says, thank you so much for sharing. And yes, thank you, Jared, for sharing those images. And Jared, if you happen to know what that second mystery sled was, we'd love to hear from you. I don't know if you had a chance to speak with the owner of that or not. Rod Licari says, love seeing these shows without leaving the house. Cool deal. And thanks all of us for doing this. Cool deal. The silver sled was a Suzuki. The three-wheel was built by Sperry and called a tri-cart. Oh. Cool. And then Jared Ellis says, not the actual sleds, but recreations. Okay. Both are 72 Arctic Cat Panthers. Interesting. Okay. All right. Cool to know. Snowball Express. Alaska Railroad said he has that movie. Weird, but cool and funny. Yeah, I agree. It's not the greatest movie, but the snowmobile scenes are worth it. Yeah. Let's see. Jim Gaccione says, awesome show again. Well, thank you for that compliment. I appreciate it. And yeah, very cool. So it is that time, my friends. We're going to wind down the program. Thank you, both Rob and Mark, for coming on. I really appreciate everything you guys are bringing to the program, and everyone who's contributed with images and videos. You know, it's fun to share my own stuff, but it's so much more interesting to have people contributing things and see what people are doing all across the vintage snowmobile hobby. It's just so pleased seeing that happen, and I thank everyone for that.
Great show, Mike.
Well, thank you so much. Any final words, gentlemen?
It was a pleasure to be with you guys tonight. I'll get you some more picture and some old home movies too.
Wonderful. I will look forward to that.
And we look forward to next week.
Absolutely. And as always, we give the last word to our friends at Mad Ramps. Thanks, everyone. We'll catch you on the other side. Hello, everyone. This is Rob and Mike. How you doing today, Rob?
I'm doing good. Mike, yourself?
Very well. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Now, today, we're going to be talking about Amsoil. And in a few moments, we're going to show you how you can get the deepest discounts, free shipping, and free gifts when you order your Amsoil products through us. But first, I'm going to ask Rob to give you a quick description of what Amsoil is and why you should consider using Amsoil products in your motorized vehicles.
Thanks, Mike. Amsoil is 100% synthetic oil. Everybody uses Amsoil for a different reason. Some people like the benefits that Amsoil is warranted for 25,000 miles or 1 year. The reason we can do that is because Amsoil doesn't oxidize. It doesn't form the usual carbons, gums, sludges like petroleum oils do. That's why we can keep it in the engines longer. Petroleum oils never do wear out. They oxidize themselves. That's why they have to be changed at 3,000 kilometers. And Amsoil likes the benefit that you only have to change the oil once a year. That saves some money. Some of the people like the benefit of Amsoil is it's a slipperier type lube. By having a slippier type lube, it cuts down friction drag. By less friction and drag, engines run 20 to 50 degrees cooler, better gas mileage. Now, Amsoil says 25% more protection than the industry requires is in the Amsoil bottles. My average customer gets about 10% increase in gas mileage. That's a big savings.
Yeah.
And by cutting down friction and drag, for every 10 degrees you cut down the friction and drag, doubles the life of the engine. So by having the engine run cooler, it makes it last longer. Some people like the benefit of the range of the Amsoil. Amsoil's flash point is 425 degrees, and it pours at 50 below zero.
Wow.
If you ever tried petroleum oil when it's 10 below, it turns to honey. And in the summertime, petroleum oil thins out, and once it thins out, that's when it starts breaking down. So Amsoil's an all-season oil, can give you better gas mileage, longer engine life, less maintenance. It ends up being cheaper over a year's time running Amsoil than it is petroleum oils.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And Amsoil is available for pretty much any motorized vehicle, anything from lawn equipment, cars, trucks, boats, ATVs, motorcycles, snowmobiles.
Yep. And a lot of people phone me up and say, well, what's the benefit of our gear lube? Exactly what I told you about the engine oil. It pours in cold weather, it runs cooler, makes the equipment last longer. And they say, well, what's the benefit of the small engine? Same thing. Makes the engine run cooler, last longer, better performance. So it saves on all the applications that Amsoil has available.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, let's talk now. Hopefully this has convinced people to think about maybe joining us in the Amsoil experience. Let's talk about some of the discounts and free shipping and how that all happens. I'm going to pop a graphic on the screen. And yeah, by all means, if you want to talk people through how this preferred customer program works.
Amsoil has a number of different programs. One of our main ones is a catalog customer, where somebody can order directly out of our catalog. If they order out of the catalog, they order $100 worth, Amsoil will ship it right to their house. But our best program is our preferred customer. For only $10 for 6 months, you become a preferred customer, you save 25% on all the product. You order $100 worth, they're going to give you free shipping. You don't have to order a whole case. You can mix and match. Say you want 4 bottles of small engine, 7 bottles of 5W30, and a couple of gear loops. You can mix and match. You can order 1 bottle at a time if you want. There's no minimums, no maximums. By being a preferred customer, you save over 25% on all the products you're going to buy. Amsoil sends you extra gifts, a $5 gift certificate on your birthday, $5 when you renew your account, and stuff like that. So it's a good way to save on some of the products you want to buy.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, it's an incredible value. And this is the deepest level of discount that anyone can get when ordering Amsoil. Is that correct?
It is. It is.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's take people through the step-by-step experience of placing an Amsoil order. Then that would include signing up for the preferred customer preferred customer program, so they can receive those deepest levels of discount. So let's go to the website. This is what the website's going to look like. These are some screenshots. Once you go to amsoil.com, there's a link in the description, or you can just type that into a browser, amsoil.com. This is the page you land on. At the upper corner of the page there, you see how I've circled in red. That is the link to click, the Join Now link. That will take you to the Preferred Customer Program page, where you can take advantage of all of these discounts and free shipping and everything that we've just been talking about. This is what that page looks like. In the lower right, you're going to click Join Now. This will pop up. You select the duration you'd like, whether it's 6 months or 12 months, and click Add to Cart. Now, once this pop-up goes away, you'll be back on the main page. And the upper left, you'll see where I've got that red arrow. It says Shop. Now you can start shopping for products, and on your very first order, you're going to get these discounts and the free shipping as long as it's over $100. You'll get all of these benefits right away. So once you click Shop, it's going to take you to the product page. There's different types of oils, lubricants, so on and so forth. For the benefit of this exercise we're doing now, I'm just going to click motor oil. It shows different types of motor oil. Let's click gasoline. Now this takes us to an item. It's their synthetic motor oil. And you can see the item there, and there's choices for different viscosities. But take a look at the price. Let's take a closer look. Let's zoom in. But if you've joined the Preferred Customer Program first, you're going to automatically get the deepest levels of discount. That's what we're looking at here. You're saving $3.80 on that quart of oil. Instead of paying $16.29, you're now paying $12.49 for that quart of oil. That is the deepest level of discount you can possibly get. And then you just add the quantity that you'd like. You select any other items that you're thinking about, add them to the cart. And once you click Add to Cart for the final time, you're going to see this come up at the top of the screen. It's going to show your items and your the total that you're at so far. Pardon me. And then you just click View Cart in the upper right, and that'll take you to your cart. Take a close look here at the upper right. That blue box shows that you're getting free shipping. You're eligible for free shipping on this order because it's over $100. That little yellow box shows that you've got the preferred customer membership on your order that gives you the deepest levels of discounts for the next 6 to 12 months. And then below that, you've got the items that have been selected. For the exercise here, I selected 9 quarts of the signature series, but that brings us up over $100 for the free shipping. We're saving $34.20. And if you're ready to finish, you click checkout now, and that takes you to this screen here. If you haven't signed up with an Amsoil account at this point, just click in the lower right to create an account, create a new account. It's going to ask you for some basic information, name and those types of things. Now let's take a closer look. You'll see this gray shaded box. This is a very important box. This is going to ask you if someone has referred you to Amsoil. And if so, please enter my name. My name is Mike LaPierre. It's spelled right there on the screen for the correct spelling. And also the referral number, 304-555-94. That's how you make sure that Rob and I get credit for this. Now, in the interest of full disclosure, I have signed up for Amsoil under Rob. So when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. So if you enjoy these podcasts that we're doing, this is a wonderful way to support the podcast, because when you order using this referral number, Rob and I both benefit. And the commissions I make go directly toward offsetting the cost of doing these podcasts. So I thank you in advance for that, for using my referral number. I very much appreciate it. And once you've done that, you just go into the next screen to enter your payment information, and you're done. Now, once you've placed your order that's over $100, and that order includes your Amsoil Preferred Customer Program, you are now eligible to get a free DVD from myself. Now, this is going to be either a muscle car DVD or a Vintage Snowmobile DVD. Use the email address on the screen, wkspodcasts@gmail.com. Send me an email. Let me know which DVD you would like me to send you, the muscle car or the Vintage Snowmobile DVD, and I'll get that right out to you. As you're typing in that email, in the subject line, be sure and type in capital letters "free DVD requests," so it stands out as I'm checking my email, and we'll get that right out to you. So I guess the last thing, Rob, that we wanted to talk about is if someone is considering Amsoil as a business opportunity.
Yes. If anybody has a retail or a commercial account and they would like to buy directly from Amsoil, just send Mike a line. He'll show you how to set up, and you can buy directly from Amsoil. But if you are interested in starting your own part-time business, a part-time business that can grow into a full-time income, Mike and I will show you the Amsoil marketing plan. Amsoil has a large selection of products that cover almost every application. So it doesn't matter if you're into snowmobile, boating, or ATVing or hot rods, we have an oil for every application. It's a fun type business that's I really enjoy doing. Where else can I go and have fun and make money doing it? And Mike and I are here to help you all the way along. If you need any help on how to promote or to find new accounts, we're here to help you.
For sure. So when you sign up under that number, this 304-555-94, you're getting Rob and I as a team. Now, Rob has been doing Amsoil for 40 years. Can you believe that? 40 years. So he knows every aspect of this business, and he knows all of the ins and outs of the products. So he'll be able to help you with any kind of product questions or any kind of questions to show you the different business models that you can do with Amsoil. And then the other thing that you get when you sign up under me is I've got a strong background in social media. So if you need some coaching on how to generate Amsoil leads using Facebook and YouTube, I'm happy to coach you with that when you sign up under Rob and I. You get both of us as a team to help you, to coach you, to support you, whatever you need to get you off and running with this business and having fun with it. Like Rob said, it's an enormous amount of fun. If you're like Rob and I and you enjoy going to any kind of boat shows, car shows, motorcycle shows, snowmobile shows, anything with a motor, you like going to those shows, those events, those races, this is a great way to turn that into a income opportunity for you.
Yes. And just by wearing my Amsoil hat at one of these events, people come up and ask me about Amsoil.
Wonderful.
People don't know where to buy it, and I'm there to help them, show them where they can buy the products.
Perfect. Well, cool. Well, this is great. Any final thoughts, Rob, before we wrap it up?
Amsoil's a fun business. Amsoil's been around since 1968. It was the first synthetic oil to be AI approved.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's very early in the game too, isn't it?
Yes.
For sure. Well, good. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for viewing. Hopefully, we've gotten you excited as we are about the Amsoil products. We'd love it if you could join us either as someone who uses the Amsoil products or to join the Amsoil team as a business opportunity. And we thank you so much for viewing. Have a great day.
You have a good day.
It's the ultimate combination of simplicity and ingenuity. The newest way to load, unload, and transport your ATV or UTV. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Made in the USA and engineered for strength and durability. Maneuver through tight places and over rugged terrain with plenty of ground clearance. No licensing, no ongoing maintenance costs, and no storage hassles like trailers. Won't slip or move like conventional ramps. Free up more cargo space in the bed of your truck. Securely connects to your truck's receiver hitch. Easily extends for safe loading and unloading. Seamlessly retracts for highway and off-road travel. DOT approved in all 50 states and Canada. Quickly disconnects in under a minute. A unique space-saving storage system. The Mad Ramps Pivoting Ramp System. Go farther. Go faster. Go safer.
When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs. When you order using the link in the description, I'll send you 3 free Vintage Snowmobile DVDs.